Okay, good morning. Today I'd like to present um, my case study presentation. Before I begin, I would like to introduce this with a quote that the authors of Moss and Young once said. Reading is powerful. It creates compassion and moves us to action, transports us to different places, and even sometimes transforms us. And this is exactly what has happened in this case study. So let's get started. So first I would like to introduce you to the student that I worked with. His name is Kevon. He will be going to the 5th grade in August. He is the youngest of 2 boys. He is 10 years old, and he is excited about school. Okay, some of his interests include playing baseball. He loves Ninjago from Legos. He also loves nonfiction books on animals. So just to give you a brief overview of his literacy history. So Kevon did not speak until he was the age of 4. And with that, he had several difficulties with his literacy from a very, very young age. And because he did not speak until the age of 4, his parents placed him in a private school where it was a smaller setting and that the teachers can work with him a little bit closer one-on-one. And while at the private school, he was able to become a master decoder. Any word that you put in front of Kevon, he will definitely try his hardest to orally decode that word. So when his parents transferred him over to the public school setting, it was a little bit difficult for Kevon because in the public school setting, they were looking for that automatic word recognition, the sight words. So his parents noticed that he was falling a little bit behind because he didn't know how to read the word automatically. He was struggling to sound out sight words. And so his parents took a lot of time to try to, do flashcards in the car on the way to school. Flashcards, I mean, sight words, going over different sight words in the car, on the way to church. Everywhere they could, they had flashcards, sight words in the house, in the bathroom, in his room. Everywhere tried to increase his word recognition so that he'll be able to read a little bit more fluently. And so that's just a little background history on Kevon. Also, he was also in speech because of his earlier delays. The school officials found it would be best to put him in speech therapy class. And the speech therapist, his mom, his dad, the other teachers worked collaboratively to make sure that he was able to speak properly, communicate effectively. And he recently graduated out of speech class, which was really good to hear and just to see the progress he has made from someone who wasn't speaking or communicating effectively until the age of 4. So I did give Kevon a pre-assessment. I'm going to just go over some quick little details of his pre-assessment that we did in our first session that we had together. So Kevon, who loves baseball, and so one of the first things that I asked him to do was I asked him to write a paragraph on baseball. Now he told me that he had a tournament coming up, a baseball tournament coming up for the July 4th weekend. And so I asked him, okay, well, there's your journal prompt. How can you prepare, or how can you get ready for your baseball tournament? And so we went over taking part of the question or part of the prompt and then going back and try to use it as the start of our sentence so that the question and the answer are correlated. And he was able to start his sentence off. However, it took a very long time for him to try to develop his sentence and his train of thought of what he was going to write about for his preparation for his baseball tournament. So when he eventually finished, Kevon only had about one sentence, one complete sentence, and the others were sentence fragments, and it wasn't complete thoughts. Punctuation wasn't where it should be. It was just kind of all over the place. So that was one of the things that we tried to focus on during our tutoring sessions. Definitely was increasing his writing. And I also noticed with his writing that he wasn't motivated to write. Now, if I asked him to tell me about his baseball tournament and what was he going to do to prepare for it, or different things like that, he was able to go in great detail about his baseball tournament and what he was going to do. However, putting his thought or transferring his thoughts to paper was very tricky for him to do. Well, that was one of the areas that we worked on, because as a fifth grader, or going to the fifth grader, or rising fifth grader, he should be able to write a paragraph on a topic that is cohesive, and that it is it's a cohesive paragraph on one topic, and it's well organized. And he had a lot of difficulty doing so. So like I said, that was one of the areas, his writing was one of the areas that we focused on as one of our goals for our tutoring sessions. So next, I also did an assessment on his phonemic awareness, and I was very surprised that he took that and he was able to blend sounds together, segment sounds. He was able to delete sounds, and he really did enjoy the rhymes. For instance, I would give him, here's the word flight. Give me a word that rhymes with flight, and he was able to do so. However, I noticed that when I asked him to give me a word that started with the beginning, or the end sound rather, I gave him the word gate, and I wanted a word that rhymed with gate. Sometimes he had difficulty with that, and he gave me drab, something like that. He was more so focused on the initial sound rather than the onset, or the rhyme of the word. But he did a very good job on his phonemic awareness. With his vocabulary, now this blew me out the water. So with his vocabulary, he had an assessment, and at the top of the assessment, it had a question: what does the word condo mean? And it said an apartment, various different options for multiple choice. And he looked at that and he started using the process of elimination to try to figure out what that word meant. And I was very pleased to see that he was able to do that, as well as on several other questions regarding vocabulary, he was able to use context clues to help figure out what the word actually meant. And most times, he was often correct. So I was very proud to see that he was able to do that. Okay, so for his fluency and comprehension, now this is a part where we had a little bit of difficulty. Yes, so like I was saying, his fluency and comprehension, we had a little bit of difficulty here. Because Kevon is a master at oral decoding, a lot of our time was spent on orally decoding words that he should already know, which affected his fluency and which ultimately affected his comprehension. And while he was reading, his reading was very choppy. He spoke in a monotone voice. It just wasn't smooth, easy reading. And I have a video here, and I'm not sure if it's going to allow me to play it for you so that you can hear his reading prior to our different sessions. But let's see if I click it here, if it'll play. I don't think it's going to play properly. Okay. Well, that's a video where his reading was very choppy and broken up, and that really affected his comprehension because I gave him a fluency test, and in this fluency test, he was supposed to read almost 300 words. However, he only made it to 75 words. And then when I asked him like some of the comprehension questions, it was a little bit difficult because he only read the first paragraph, and the rest of it, so he was only able to answer one question because that first question was related to that first part of the passage. So that played a lot into his comprehension. And I asked him different questions, and it was a little bit hard to get him to respond efficiently with the questions that I was asking related to the text. And so here's a video of our tutoring session. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's going to let me play it. Oh, okay. So, well, that's a little snippet of it, and I'm just going to continue on the presentation. So, the post-assessment, we had a lot of great sessions together. And so, writing, like I said before, is one of the key points that we were going to be looking at for our presentation, for our tutoring session. And with the use of graphic organizers, Kevon was able to formulate and organize his ideas and thoughts and create a paragraph. And write a cohesive paragraph related to a topic where the sentences flowed. It all made sense. It was just really, I think I was more excited than he was of his accomplishment of writing a concise paragraph with all the appropriate components, writing components with punctuation, capitalization, different things like that. And I saw that by using the graphic organizers and allowing him to take it chunk by chunk instead of telling him to just write, that definitely helped boost his confidence because it was one section at a time that we used to do his graphic organizer and looking at different parts of his paper. Another part that we focused on was his fluency. So we did a lot of reader theater scripts just to help improve his fluency, and that definitely improved his fluency and him being able to read fluently, accurately. We did a lot of word recognition. We also did some vocabulary game just to kind of increase his vocabulary as well as increase his word recognition, so that ultimately he can read effectively. And we also did a lot of different fluency assessments. With his fluency, it increased tremendously. We started off with only 75 words a minute. By the end of our tutoring sessions, he was able to read 200 words per minute. And it's not where we want it to be, but it's a lot better than where he was at the beginning of our session. And so I'm just so proud of him. He was able to read quickly, accurately, and I'm very proud of him on that. Now with his comprehension, because his speed we were able to increase his speed, he was able to answer comprehension questions. And I would pause in the middle of him reading, and we would stop and ask questions. Why did the author write it this way? Or why did he choose to write it like this? Or he could have done something else differently. But just stopping and pausing in random places to ask Kevon questions definitely increased his comprehension. And we ultimately had a great a great tutoring session this summer. And that will conclude my case study presentation. Thank you so much, and I appreciate any positive and constructive feedback. Thank you.